How's it going? I want to talk about something that is pretty important for me. I have become lost media. If for people don't know, at the day of this video comes out, at the I've been this channel has 7 subscribers, give or take, and but in reality, I've been making YouTube video as far back as 2006. Between 2005 to 2015, I made videos in a very loosely basis. But at the time I was a kid, when YouTube came out, I was 8 years old or 7 years old when that came out. So I didn't know how to upload anything. I just thought if you record something, automatically it will be somewhere on the internet. Like American Funniest Home Videos. I remember watching America's Funniest Home Video and random people recording their family stupidity. I thought if I record it, somehow it will be on television to see as well, without realizing there's a whole process to actually achieve that. So those early videos will never be released, even if I want to. With some exception, from 2010 to 2012 and 2013, I did make videos, but they're lost. Most of them are videos of me playing Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Happy Wheels, WWE 13, and other similar videos. Although I did recover some of them, and I'm going to upload them in the future, but most of them are just me playing games and they're forever lost. Unless somehow YouTube will give me back my old account so I can recover those lost videos, and especially family videos that I uploaded. Me with my dad who was playing, he was playing Atari 2600 and he was basically rage quitting. Or, me and the beach with the family and stuff like that. Me going to Disney World for the first time in my life and the only time I wish I want to go back there. But yeah, those personal videos are forever gone. The very few that I recover are very few and far between. But between 2015 and 2021, I mean my second account. I did an account from 2010, but I didn't know how to upload them at the time. So there is the channel, that account is still around. I don't know where to find it anymore. That's the problem. But regardless, if they're still there somewhere hidden in the internet. But I don't. But if I'm not mistaken, I don't have any videos on that channel. But still, my earlier videos were reaction videos, watching Watch Mosho, reacting to like music videos, like heavy metal and stuff like that. I put on private. I wanted it where because I showed my face at the time, and yeah, that's how it came the case. And eventually there was another YouTuber called Ministry of Music, which he took down his channel for unknown reason, never explained, never mentioned, just disappeared. And he actually reviewed 3 albums that I requested. He actually reviewed by a metal band from Puerto Rico called Puya, which is the most successful and influential Puerto Rican metal band in history. It is the only Puerto Rican metal band that reached mainstream success, although briefly, like a year or two, they were in the mainstream, not that much, but still, like for Puerto Rican people, especially the metal scene, that's like the best that we ever get, you know. But still, and over time, I made videos like from 2015 to 2018 to 2019, give it take. Around 100 of my videos or 90 of my videos were lore videos about sci-fi, and specifically about like I did like a series like what are the most technologically advanced civilization in science fiction history. That doesn't rely on the supernatural or anything like that. So like Star Wars or other civilizations where they rely magic to some extent, or anything that isn't strictly science and technology, that would not count. So I wanted to make a series of videos on me talking about, the most advanced civilization in history. I made video specifically of the downstreamers, which is the most technologically advanced civilization in the history of science fiction that doesn't rely on anything that is a science, like the supernatural, magic, the paranormal, etc. And I did like a versus video about the downstreamer versus the Sealies, which is another the second most advanced civilization in science fiction history. And I did videos, although they're not technically speaking, they're not good per se. I got a lot of views, like 1,000 views, but like it's just me reading articles from the wiki, right? Like fact thing, like that, If the doing this before fact thing, basically, I'm trying to say. Although I don't want to say I'm better or anything, I don't want to be obnoxious or anything like that. But I'm saying like in that similar style, right? Other civilizations that I see videos I did about advanced civilization science fictions were, like I said, the downstreamers, the old ones from the Dark Tower. But it's just me complaining about the timeline. How like, making a challenge. Who can explain to me in simple terms how this works, right? Also, the Beyonders from the Marvel comics. Also, said the Time Lords from Doctor Who. I did the CDs from the CD sequence, the 40 uppers from the CD sequence, the Catan, no, the Catan, no, the Warhammer 40k. I had the Necron, and the old ones. Also have the Anti-Spiral for the Tenkatopa Corelanga. I did the wave assistance from the Xenogears and Xenosagas. I also did a video about the timeline of those series. I also did the Celestial from Star Wars, the Celestial from Marvel Comics, the New Gods from DC. I also did like the Grand Alliance of Order from Warhammer Age of Sigmar, the fantasy one, not Warhammer 40k. That's different. I did the Q from Star Trek. I did the Destiny series like the Human Civilization Vex. I also did the Guardians, like the Avenger, the Multiverse Avengers, which like it says the Avengers but on a multiverse scale. I also did the precursor from Halo. I also did the Senkai Empire and Jack Matter from the Super Sentai series, or in the United States is well known as the Power Ranger series. Also the video about the Eldar Empire for Warhammer 40k, but especially during the War of Heaven and before their fall. The Culture from the Culture, which is the fourth most advanced civilization in science history, is actually based. The government is based on anarchist communism. So yeah, I recommend the books, the Culture series. There are 10 books, and there's an extra like notes by E.A. Baker will explain the anarchist communist elements of it. Interesting. There's also the Galaxy Federation for Xeno Saga, the High from Destiny, and I did like those types of videos. I also did the Forerunners for Halo, and I did yeah, I think that's about it. I know I did other ones, but I just like trying to remember like correctly if there was like other ones, but it's just on top of my head, it's hard to really think about it because it's been years. Oh yeah, the Warhammer 40k ripoff is I forgot the name of the game series, which is similar to that in some sense. And there are other videos like I did gameplay videos of Spectre Comes to Pain. I did a little bit that I beat Skyrim. The video is like 2 minutes long because originally I was going to pause the game, and when I played fight the Ebony Warrior, and before I truly killed it, I played the video to see you to see me kill the Ebony Warrior, but I didn't know that the battle lasted for literal seconds because I already beat the hit the boss that is harder than the Ebony Warrior. I forgot the name of it. Sorry. Este And that is basically, I was like, oh god, I did it in seconds. Holy shit. You know, I don't know, it's like kind of fun. And also like me playing, este, how do I say this? The Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, which was fun. Just me at the beginning of the game where you make your character and like, and trying to pass the first dungeon, which I basically failed miserably. You know, and other things. It's like it's fun. It's like me playing games and me talking about anime, cartoons, video games. I remember I did a video about the the No Man's Sky, and the video literally starts from the scene from that shitty fantasy movie. It's like disappointed, like screaming disappointed, like that type of scenario. And I still remember every video I made because it's just me. Like most of, like I said, lower video is just me reading, and videos about Puerto Rico independence and Puerto Rico anarchism. It's just me reading articles, newspaper, uploading documentaries and stuff, but they all got taken down. I also did videos about the last anarchist society in China, which was the Saigon Commune, and the title was like the last anarchist society in China. Uh, no, how Mao betrayed the revolution, long live the People's Commune of China. That's about it. It was explaining how Mao Zedong betrayed the revolution, and the anarchists who tried to make their own anarchist society, Mao basically destroy and declared as reactionary. Despite they were not doing harm to anybody. Este, but yeah, it's kind of fucking ridiculous. Like, and also the videos of hate, fallout, especially before the war, like the entire timeline of events, you know. And oh yeah, there was a game series that I forgot the name of. That is like it's like the first civilization, and there's a mysterious dark galaxy. And I forgot the name of that sci-fi series. I enjoy reading the lore. If I can remember that one. But yeah, just me doing that. I also play visual novel because that was the only type of game I can actually play on my laptop. That, and like in my perspective, the game works fine. But when I trying to play the video that I recorded, it was like a slideshow, just one picture every 5 minutes. So it's like it couldn't handle it. So I use visual novel. I play Everlasting Summer. Like this was the original Doki Doki Literature Drop. This is the original. I also play other ones like Celestial Crossing, which is a short visual novel, which I kinda like. I like a little bit. Me play new ground games like playing with Anxiety, which is a short game about a girl who suffers with anxiety, and you have this demonic doll trying to convince you, do this and not that, but it actually hurts your life. It depends your choices. The girl either kills herself, comes to terms with her anxiety, tries to live with it, or beat and surpass it. I got basically the neutral ending, which is like I had to deal with this, live up with it. I may never get rid of it, but at the same time, not gonna kill myself. Yeah, me talking about like games, movies. I did appear on other channels talking about mostly political stuff and the independence for Puerto Rico. I appear on Steve McRae twice. I appear on Non-Compete multiple times. I appear in Anarchy 69. I appeared in Silver Spook and Kamisovs. And me explaining about the situation in Puerto Rico at the moment. Also explain the history. You may see my actual face because I actually appear of Non-Compete and Luna Oi's wedding. So I was there. I was wearing the Nickelodeon pajamas on wedding. I read the Bible in Spanish. you know, I opened a chapter about circumcision. So yeah, I just picked a random page in the Bible. That came up with circumcision. It's like, yep, perfect wedding. Okay, there you go. Um, Although I am an ordained minister of the Universal Life Church, so there you go. Even though I'm an atheist, but regardless, but yeah, it's just me explaining about Puerto Rican history. But like I said, it's just me reading articles and books and stuff like that, which again, nothing. Yeah, it's not really lost media. If I told you it's me reading of already existing material, but regardless, because it's such an obscure topic, nobody even know it exists to begin with, so it's hard to find. That's why my videos get certain amount of views, because it was such an obscure topic, and people who do talk about it took it from a pro-American perspective or a neutral perspective. That doesn't really explain the situation. It just says, oh yeah, that happened, but why, how, what's, if it doesn't do that much. Also made videos about the last anarchist society in Vietnam, which that video was the reason my channel got taken down. Because of copyright material, even though there was no copyright material, it was just one image of one guy who participated the society they live in, and me reading, like I don't know. I also made a video about the last anarchist society in Korea. Este, yeah, just, and also explain like the some people who were the oldest racial slash ethnic slash tribe slash culture in the world, who are also anarchist communists, and me explaining about the Amazigh people, me explaining about, all these things. Try my best to educate about the subject of Puerto Rico. I made like 90 videos of it. Most of them are like existing documentaries and videos, but because they're so obscure, hard to come by, so I thought if I upload on my channel it would be easier for educational purposes, but apparently that's not the case. Este, yeah, I did a couple of videos like that. I did like 4 videos critiquing and debunking dialectics, mainly dialectical materialism, but also dialectical naturalism, dialectical nominalism, dialectical idealism. The first video I did was me making entropy versus Trotskyism, which is me, a dialectical materialist, take on entropy and why physicists are wrong, even though they're right, and also like cosmology versus dialectics, which is again from the Trotskyist perspective of dialectical materialism and their version of cosmology. He also made a video about Jean-Paul Sartre debunking dialectical idealism and dialectical materialism, and his work is a critique of dialectical reasoning, making his case for dialectical nominalism. And then I did 2 videos, which is a 4-hour long in total, you put it together, debunking of dialectical materialism, which I was reading based on the long introduction summary of anti-dialectics by Rosa Luxemburg, who is a mathematician and a philosopher who is also a Trotskyist. But his philosophy is basically Wittgensteinian analytical philosopher in nature, and he's very anti-realist when it comes to science. So yeah, I also made a video critiquing and debunking E.J.E. non-Copete's dialectical materialism and why his understanding of consciousness and stuff like that was wrong. If you don't know my philosophy, I know this sounds pretentious, but this is kind of rude. My philosophy is basically the correct one, because I believe my beliefs based on the evidence by all experts, what they gather, right? So like, philosophically speaking, my philosophy of philosophy, meta philosophy, metaphysics, meta ontology, meta epistemology, because like the fundamental, I am a Wittgensteinian pragmatism, Wittgenstein's philosophy, especially uncertainty, mixed with pragmatism and neo-pragmatism, which is that a mix of postmodernism, post-structuralism, but not to the extreme sense. I have critique continental philosophy as a whole and postmodern post-structuralism, why it's false, especially when they go to the metaphysical ontological elements of it. Like outside of philosophy and history, like they're basically useless. It's been debunked many times over. But regardless, it's also like that's my philosophy. Like the philosophy of mind, I'm a physicalist, and to be more specific, reductive physicalist, and even more specific, like all evidence leads to computationalism or computational theory of the mind and structuralism. That's how AI is created. It's based on those principles because if we cannot make AI, then functionalism and computationalism is false. But we know we can make AIs. We know that this position is the correct one. You know, ontologically speaking, I am a naturalist. Like I said, when it comes to culture, I'm a physicalist. So that's just ontological naturalism to a more extreme sense. You know, when it comes to the concept of free will and stuff, I am a compatibilist. You know, where free will and determinism can be compatible. I am not a hard determinist. You know, like some people, like the atheist YouTuber, you know, the cosmic skeptic, he is a determinist. You know, and I'm also not a libertarian free will like many Christian apologetics. And like I mentioned, cosmic perspective. When it comes to theology and philosophy of religion, or philosophical theology, I am an atheist. There is no God. It is impossible. I did make a TikTok video why God is impossible and the supernatural as a whole. But even that, like all the code when it comes to knowledge, I am a empiricist. You know, and when it comes to politics, like I said, I'm an anarchist communist. So yeah, with that influence like post left anarchy, you know, post anarchism, stuff like that, impunctions, communalism, and libertarianism, you know, has some influence of that. But still, yeah, I made videos about that, those types, explaining my philosophy and stuff like that. I did a video, like an almost 2 hour video, critiquing and debunking Marxist philosophy, you know, as a whole, explaining why their approach to analysis of capitalism is not as accurate compared to Proudhon's. You know, and their philosophy is not as great as most people make it out to be, and the consequences to put into practice, especially during the Russian Revolution. I do heavy analysis on that. But yeah, I also made a video about Marx versus Proudhon, which I showed that Marx basically plagiarized the ideas of Proudhon and took credit, and terms that most people think Marx invent or popularized was actually originated from Proudhon. Like for example, scientific socialism, that was first coined by Proudhon. You know, if the and his analysis of capitalism, of category and systems and stuff like that, that was also by Proudhon. You know, like I said, and Marx, if you read his right, he actually critiques and makes fun of Proudhon for his lack of understanding of capitalism. But when he wrote Capital, he used exactly Proudhon's analysis. So if you took away all of his authoritarian hierarchical elements of his philosophy, it's just Proudhon. But you know, but in a more at the in academic level, so to speak. But yeah, you know, critiquing that. Although I did recover a video of me explaining how Marx at one point accidentally became anarcho-syndicalist when he wrote The Civil War in France, and there are many cases throughout the final years of his life between the publication of, you know, the Civil War in France during his up to his death, and Engels, who when he wrote the final years of his life, when he wrote the second, third volume of Capital and the theory of property, state, and family, that he was also leading to the anarchist position, but never became pro-anarchist per se, but he made pro-anarchist statements. Right there in isolation, you think an anarchist was writing this, but no, it was Marx and Engels, but this is during the final years. So I assume like the Proudhonian influence was becoming more prevalent to them, especially after the events of the Paris Commune. And also their video talking about the anti-intellectual origins of Christianity, why during the first 3 centuries, the first, second, third century, was anti-intellectual, anti-education, anti-science, which was explicitly stated by early Christians at the time. And I actually used a sample of what's considered the first Christian intellectuals, which was Justin Mulder, Clement Alexandria, and Oregon, who made clearly anti-intellectual, anti-science, anti-philosophy statements in their writings. It makes them very clearly, not just in the New Testament, but in their writings as well, exposing that they basically led the downfall of science during the early years. It wasn't until the first century where they started to make their own education system away from the pagans, and it didn't fully accepted pagan ideas up until the 11th to 12th century, after the rediscovery of the nature of things by Lucretius and the ideas of Epicurus, which led the revival of the atom theory and materialism by people like Francis Bacon, John Locke, Thomas Hobbes, etc. The same thing, like point out that the scientific method of Francis Bacon, he did a study actually goes back to the ancient Rome in the 2nd century, with the combined ideas of Galen, Ptolemy, and Hero Alexandria. They laid the groundwork of the scientific method, and many historians postulate if the Roman Empire never fell, and the education project, they wanted to expand the entire empire, but they didn't have the means to actually achieve it. But if they never stopped doing that, they could have achieved industrial revolution centuries before everybody else, if not for the entire millennia before. Because they already have early ideas of industrialization, early ideas of heliocentrism, and early ideas of what is considered today's science. So they were very ahead of their time, at least in certain cases. Not all cases, like the extent of their ideas of biology was still whack, but still. So yeah, it's that I made these types of videos. And I try my best to recover them. And I remember when I found out my channel, couldn't connect with my channel, I was like, well, this is weird, right? That I was so confused. Why I can't enter to my account, right? And I was sad when I found out it was taken down. Yeah, trying to find screenshots and photos, everything I could find about my previous video. I did videos about about Jake Paul in the Suicide Forest. Why, you know, I did a video about Malcolm Young, who passed away, and the voice actress of Bulma. Also made a video about Thor. What Thor were actually like in the actual Norse mythology. Este, and like I said, I also did like top 10 video of underrated rock punk metal bands. I did like a top 10 video about like my favorite jazz, blues, rock, and metal bands. I did a top 40 of my favorite punk bands. Also did I remember. I also did a lore video about the Volga, which is like an obscure sci-fi series. I also made multiple videos like the Third Revolution, why we need my anarchist manifesto. Me exposing the economic inequality, why we need an alternative, and the situation of the Chaz in Seattle, and why permanent technological revolution is a good thing, but the only problem, because we live in a capitalist society, this will be bad for everybody unless we change the economic system. And I did multiple videos, me reading the final writings of Bookchin, which was interesting about his final ideas, like his final writings from 2002 to 2006. I did also a video about Tenchi Muyo, about the D's. And I also did like the Star Trek timeline about the distant past and the far future, specifically like that time period. I also did a video about StarCraft lore, about the Xel'Naga and the Zergs. Also did a video about Full Metal Alchemist, the lore about like the most advanced civilization, Full Metal Alchemist, and also my top 5 the factions in Warhammer. and also the lore video about Half-Life and about that advanced civilization. You know, also the video about the Altera of Stargate and the Atlanteans from Stargate, and I also did like a compilation of the lore video about other advanced civilization that I never bothered to mention because they're so obscure, had little information like the multiverse Rome, that was a thing. You know, also the video a DC comic lore about the Guardians of the Universe, and I also did a video about DB lore, about humans, about that lore, about the facts. Also did about video about movies before the 1910s. You know why I like them and like what were the best cartoons before the 1980s. You know, which are not that much. I gotta be honest. The and television before the 1990s, what they were watching. It's just a 1 50-minute video of me explaining all different shows what I consider the best or underrated before the 1990s, why I didn't like them for the most part. Also, the like personal views video. This is the early days when I was still starting to get interested in philosophy and politics for the first time. So I really have like a center left view, you know, like a in religious view, you know, like what's it that thing? Also, there a video about the first who was the first atheist or what was the first atheist book, and I explore like the history of atheism literature from the middle Bronze Age from India, China, and the Mediterranean region up until Jim Misley, who was considered the first modern atheist and anarchist communist. You know, I also made videos about like movie Thursday, book Friday, about movies and books and TV shows that I like. You know, and also they made a short video about the history of animation about the early years. You know, and also made video about criticizing religion like biblical and Quranic and Vedic contradictions and stuff like that. Like no religion was safe basically. Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, you know, Hinduism, even Jainism. Like I critique all of them to some extent. You know, I also made a 3 part video about what is a religion, and the first part was basically explaining what counts as people who are religious. The second part is like the effects of a religious world, like the positive that people contribute to society, and the third part is like me making a history of a religion. You know, people who are considered important in that aspect, and also the persecution of atheists, the history of violence against atheists and anti-atheists, persecution or atheist phobia. You know, este, I think, you know, a lore video, a fallout about the Great War, which is kind of interesting. I did a reaction video about Pantera because Vinnie Paul passed away, so I react their first music video was All Over Tonight. You know, I did a podcast, one video with Benjamin McLean, which is a philosopher but who is a Mormon. Although I don't subscribe to his idea because he has sadly basically homophobic views, and he is very hateful towards atheists. He believe like they're sexualizing children and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, it's like I used to be part of his Discord chat and I left. I still have as a friend, you know, not just don't agree with his political and philosophical views. Oh, I also did a video like my favorite black metal bands, progressive death metal bands, you know, death metal bands. Also did a video about what is the most liberal religion, which I think like any non-denominational churches of regardless of religion is considered better than denominational ones, or ones that are considered cultural. You know, I'm a cultural Christian or I'm a Christian atheist or stuff like that. I think it's better than just the regular kind, you know, and stuff like that. The Unitarian Universalist Church. And I also did my views humanity the year 2100, which why I think we get G top one, like tier one civilization by that point. But for me, at the time I was a social democrat, so I didn't know that as long as there's capitalism, we're not gonna achieve that. And even if we did, only the people who are upper class will benefit from it and not everybody. So I was aware that I didn't know what socialism was back then. So besides being scary, also the video is exposing that Israel was exporting weapons to neo-Nazis in Ukraine. And also the video the most insane religion in the world, which is esoteric Nazism. But that's just me reading the Wikipedia article. Also the video about my top 10 group metal bands. I did reaction video to Game Freak about not Ash's Ash from Pokemon. Also did like a top 20 video of my favorite thrash metal bands. Thrash was like where I love metal to begin my love for the genre. Also made an Assassin's Creed video about what would they make a game before the events of Odyssey? Like, would they make a game like that would take place during Adam and Eve and like the not Centaur, I forgot the name of the first civilization. That would be interesting. Also made another Assassin's Creed video that I would like to see a DLC about Socrates' trial, and you will see famous philosophers because they do mention or appear famous atheist philosophers like xenophobe and stuff like that. So I would like to see it. And also made a video about why America doesn't like the LGBT. It was a holy war against the LGBT. It was a church declared war on the LGBT community. I also did like book reviews, like of the most famous books. Like The Catcher in the Rye. The Mockingbird, Piece of War, Lolita. Moby Dick. 1984. The like my first gameplay video, like I says, like the about Happy Wheels back when it was still popular, when PewDiePie started his popularity. Technically, it was Amnesia, but Happy Wheels, like the second thing he did, was like it truly gave him to start, and was March was still number one, and you had this rivalry between PewDiePie, Tobuscus, and Uber Hackstar Nova, who was the best Happy Wheels player. You know. So the video about the Witcher lore at the earliest timeline. If the what is the farthest back they could go. I did my own try not to have Bane challenge, but it was shit editing. Also made a review about the Cattle Ray amusement device, which is considered the first video game. Also did Would You Rather. Este, I also did like reaction videos about the Star Wars, The Force Awakens. And no, not the Force Awakens, the Last Jet. Fuck. The third one when Palpatine came back. Okay, Spider-Man, the PS4. As the first Assassin's Creed review, I reacted to the first horror movie, which is called The Devil's Castle. There was a me recording a giant python snake in my local town. Well, not town, but like the plaza. I also did like my top 10 horror games. I did random rants about China and religion and other stuff that just, you know. Also did a video about the origins of Halloween, but it's just me bored as hell. Also made a shitty video when I reached 50 subscribers when a group of not so smart people, I put communists and socialists in the list, even though I'm an anarchist communist myself now, so yeah. I also respond to S.J. Thompson, who was a Christian apologetic. She made a video about 8 facts about Christianity. I debunked basically the entire thing why she's wrong. I also made a video like why the US not a Christian nation. I put quotes from the founding fathers themselves. A drunk man explains method, which is me trying to explain method, pretending to be drunk. I don't know how I accomplished it, but I did like everybody can play metal. Let me do it. I did like a black metal screech, but I did so good. I was like, I paused the video. I was like, wait, did I actually pull that off? Like what? Like, never do it again. Sure. Also made a video about the scientific revolution, the birth of modern science, skepticism, pantheism, deism, atheism. The first atheist day, which was in 2019. I made a video called "The Face of Atheism," which was a slideshow of various famous atheists and their quotes and their impact. You know, I made a video about fundamentalists as a bunch of weirdos and what they condemn and why I think they're ridiculous. You know, I made a tier list of the best and worst religion. You know, and Tyler, the guy on Twitch who always screams. There's a famous video of him screaming. That was my video when I react to 100 subscribers. Just that clip. Yo, I made a video of. Oh yeah, I forgot. Space engine lore. That was the one. The shadow beings and like other than like I made multiple videos about them. The space engine lore, the Voyager galaxy, you know, stuff like that. The Arturian galaxy. I love those ones. The Santin. You know, the deepest conspiracy, which was it, and this was 2019. This is before Iceberg explained videos of water. This is before Wetico was doing videos. And I did a mini series like 7 videos of the deepest conspiracy, me debunking all of them. I also did a video like what is the heaviest metal genre of all time. My top 10. I technically blood gore noise is number one, but I don't think I consider it metal. I consider it part of the noise genre. So Death Grin will be number one technically. You know. Also made video of the 3 longest video game scripts. If you don't know what that means, it's like if you play a video game, there are video games that have very long ass stories, right? And you put together the dialogue, it becomes a book, which is the longest. And top 3 were the how do I say it? Because out of the 3, two of them are visual novels. The third one is technically a visual novel, but gameplay is like a traditional, like old school Final Fantasy type of game, which was the Rents 10. And then there you had go GMO, which is a visual novel comedy erotica, which is about you won this thing. Now you had to achieve love, and you had choice to become a hero or choose one girl. And of course, I'm gonna choose the hero. It's just a comedy with sex in it. It's it is what it is. It's entertaining, right? The dialogue is too long, but I just skip it for the visuals. And there's another one which is like a horror mystery, well not horror, like a detective work, which visually speaking, like the images are beautiful design, but the story is so overbloated and so many words and to repetition, they can ruin the game. You know. And I also made my first album, which was a noise noise grain album, which is static noise for the static's mind. Now that's lost media. My album is lost media. And it was like 20 tracks or 30 tracks. It just each one is like 1 or 2 seconds long. It's just me screaming and stuff like that. And I did a parody. It's by called Noisecore. I did a cover of 433 by John Cage. So there's just silence, which is the opposite of a noisecore. I don't know if that's innovative genius on the genre or just being an idiot. I made a gameplay video about Discouraged Workers, which is a visual novel. You know, I did a lot of reaction videos about wrestling, you know, MMA, you know, like most age-defying MMA fighters in history, or Game Grumps reaction, and the final years of Chris Benoit. This is before Dark Side of the Ring was even a thing yet. I also made a video. Stop saying I'm missing on YouTube. They're still here. Basically, the first generation YouTuber, which is 2005 to 2011. People think they miss old YouTuber, but for me, when I think old YouTuber, I think the YouTubers, not like the design. And out of all the channels I subscribe from that who started in that period, only 5 stopped doing videos. And even then, those 5 are still making content outside of YouTube, like Twitch or their Twitter or DeviantArt and stuff like that. So they're not really gone. They're still active on different websites, and another 5 is because they're dead, sadly. But one of them they start doing YouTube videos again, which is Ed's World. Even though the creator passed away, they're still making videos. My thoughts on WrestleMania 36. I did like what the fuck 2020, which was like Leafy, iDubbbz, dead YouTubers, and more. I did a video like the 5 most underrated YouTubers. And I did like an honorable mention, like that dude with the hat Todd, Todd in the Shadows, Linkara, Webcomic Relief, etc. I also did a video about Mayday, which was part of the Mayday debt strike with EJ non-compete. I was one of the promoters of it, and my voice was actually in the promotional video. And during the 2020 election, I made a video about voting. I said vote for Harry Hawkins. From the Green Party, he is the only one who is legit left wing. Also, they're like, it's midday, it's time for a revolution, and why we need to stop it, and why anarchist is the only alternative. Me explaining, why anarchist society is the best government and stuff like that. I also did a video about Pokemon who can handle criticism. I also did a video about Anthony Flew and his perception of atheism, which is based off a 2019 academic paper making his case for Anthony Flu's definition of atheism, where nobody agrees to it anymore except the new atheist movement, where they still put lack of belief instead of saying a metaphysical position that God does not exist, like everybody who is professional in philosophy. You know. Also, they have video with Kamasoft with on Twitch. They do higher class people, upper class people join our cause. Also, they have video about Super Shirley, the Skybreak Caramba, because she was harassed by in Twitter at the time. And also, they have video why the future is bright, but we need anarchism to achieve it. Because in reality, there's a secret revolution, like scientific revolution advancements that nobody talks about, or they think they're not as amazing that many people give it out to be, you know. And why I say it's a good thing, but we need anarchists to truly achieve it, because if not, only the rich people will privilege of it, it's the and also like during the George Floyd protest, I was saying, made a videos like, are we witnessing an anarchist revolution? Because there are many signs like the Black Lives Matter, which is based on non-hierarchical anarchist tactics, the rise of Antifa. George Floyd is the fourth largest protest in human history. The first one is in India, which was led by trade unions and communists for the most part. I also made a video about how to make a global anarchist civilization. Also made a video about the critique of the capitalist approach to technology, which is based off Muray's Bookchin of the Future of the Left and Bookchin, the Permanent Technological Revolution. Also made a video by top 10 like leftist movies, and atheist movies. Also they have a gameplay video of me playing Helltaker. Also made a video of me that I may be related to Peter Kropotkin himself. Also made a video why Steve Picker is wrong about hierarchy, which he believed that we need a Leviathan Thomas Hobbes style state to reduce violence, but in his book he debunked himself, where he doesn't find evidence of violence before hierarchy. It's only after hierarchy where violence started to become more violent. Also the reaction video about Edgeworld when they made their first video in years after the death of the creator. Me reacting to One Piece chapter 987, and also oversimplified video about the Russian Revolution. Also made a video about American fascism, what America was doing before they joined the war in World War II, why they were fascists, and not different to the Nazis. Also the anime review of the first idol anime, Sasurai no Taiyon. And not only was the first idol anime, because this predates the idol genre by decades, but this is the genre that I think popularized or started the concept of incest is wincest. It was like, no, we're related, it doesn't matter, like that type. Also made a video like, do all Marxists subscribe to dialectics, and turns out no. If you are left communist like Luxembourg is, console communist, libertarian Marxist, neo-Marxist, and post-Marxist, no, they do not subscribe to dialectics. There are many examples that use Marxist philosophy while rejecting dialectics. I upload a mirror video of Dot Slime, but I'm not the only one. Many leftist YouTubers did as well. I also made a video about North Korea, why they're the good guys in this scenario, but I did it in Spanish. Also, did a video about Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, and why I consider it the first radical, the first atheist and anarchist. And chronologically speaking, he's like the first documented. Also made a video about Project Mad, about the history of Cold War, why the U.S. bombed Puerto Rico in 1950, which I recovered that video surprisingly. Este, what else? I also made a video about the history of Puerto Rico, like a PowerPoint presentation, you know, and it's not that good, but I made so many videos of me talking about it, you know. Also made a video about the International Workers' Day, Face of Anarchists. That's where I basically came out as anarchist on my channel, you know. Also made, like, before my first album, I did like 4 videos on me playing acoustic guitar, like Alone in the Mountain, which was like my first original video. And I remember I wrote it down when I wrote this song on December 18, 2016 at 1 in the morning. Like it took me 1 hour, you know. Also made a Billy Sheehan cover of The Suspense Is Killing Me playing the bass, you know. And sadly, this is like back in 2013 that I made a video. It wasn't me, it was my uncle doing this, but it contains animal abuse, you know, saying this in advance warning. It's about him burning a rat alive. Like, he used a newspaper and put like gasoline in the newspaper, and it has like a spray, and used the spray to make like a mini flamethrower and burn the rat. You know, in hindsight, I'm not proud of doing that, but like, I was a kid and it was his idea. It's like, hey, let's record this. I'm like, are you sure? It's like, yes. Well, it could go wrong, right? That was my video that got taken down, you know, for the first time. Well, it wasn't taken down, but nobody could see it except me, you know. Yeah, I don't know what else. Um, Also made a video about Hurricane Maria, the largest hurricane in Puerto Rican history. It's September 20, 2017. Was destroyed by garage. I lost the footage. I no longer have access to that anymore, sadly. But there is an image of it flooding before the wall of the garage broke, destroyed, collapsed. The water was 4 feet tall. You know, it took everything: water, food, gasoline. I left it all down there because we didn't know it was gonna break down. They thought it was could hold it like everywhere else. We were the only, my house was the only one that actually broke. No, everybody else was fine. Also made a video about Gen Strike for a Better Future, which was a script that EJ Dankopi gave it to me so I can read it in Spanish. Uh, if I'm not mistaken, no, it was Kamensav. They did it gave me. And I appear so many videos I play of other channel, but because it was Twitch and there's no archives, they don't save it. So there's possible they're also lost media for the most of them. Even if somehow I can find it, I don't know how. You know, I also made a reaction video about Game Free, about who will survive the virus. You know, and like I made videos like, is the future dark, and why I make a academic decision that's not dark, what most people care to be, and when people talk, we can't make good prediction, or like cynical historians like, uh, don't ever make prediction, which is a common myth. We make prediction all the time. It just depends how you do it. If you do it based off information, background knowledge, and probability theory, you know, you tend to have more accurate depiction than inaccurate one. It's a common myth that we make wrong accuracy and over exaggerate the failed predictions. You know. And also made a reaction video reacting to a game called Marco and the Galaxy Dragon, which is like a visual novel. I also made a video about Jean Mayer Keynes, who was a socialist. You know, based off a book, Keynes Kings Against Capitalism: His Economic Case for Liberal Socialism by James Scott. You know, and I, I made a reaction video about Onision and his first 3D animation video. That was a thing, you know. Reaction video to wrestling spot that would not improvise, that would totally improvise, you know. Also made a Game of Thrones or Ice and Fire Lord or What's Beyond the Known World. And I made a theory about there maybe that their version of Americas may exist over there based off one information about one of the characters who live in like in the very end of the no world, you know. And it's like I did multiple channel updates, but those channel updates just me. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta. There's more channels that I appear like other channel like non-copy EJ. I appear frequently. And at the Anarchy 69 video I came myself at the time. Also may play a visual novel game called Voice from the Sea. The whole game in one sitting. You know. And it's like I'm trying to remember or trying to look other video that I'm somehow managed to save. Also did like a video about anarchist communist economics 101 mainly based on the writings of Peter Kropotkin, The Conquest of Qued, and the Factory Fields and Manual Labor, you know. And I also did a video about MMA and fascism, which is based off a Jacobin article of the same name. Also did a video about the origins of anti-Semitism, like the Christian origins of it, based on the International Holocaust Remembrance Day. And I explored like how Jesus, Paul, Martin Luther, Muhammad influenced Hitler and today's fascists, based on various academic sources of the matter. You know, I also did a video about Bolivar socialism by the leader of the machete wielders, the Boricua Taino separatist Filiberto Hirohito Rios, for Puerto Rican independence and his views of socialism. You know, I also made a video how Marxists fail America, which is based on the writings of African anarchism, the history of the movement. Also made video on YouTube keeps censoring my videos about U.S. crimes against humanity, which and the description they can't handle the truth for U.S. colonialism and imperialism in Puerto Rico, which I was right because they took down my channel. You know, and also made people like peoples of the world unite. Why we need like revolution on the global scale. You know, like also did a video about Happy Birthday Author, about the longest lived liberal politician in the world at the time. You know, also did a reaction video about Puya and their lockdown reaction. I tried to play Godzilla by Anime Man on my guitar, especially the last part where he does super fast rips, which I play, but at the very end I just scream in pain. uh, what else? I'm trying to think of what other like trying to look if I somehow manage because I try my best to preserve what videos I made. Like I mentioned pretty much all of them in memory, but like if the like I said, it's not really lost media because it's just me reading already existing books and articles, and the ones that are just me rambling. Like I said, well, like anarchist revolution, we witnessing anarchist revolution in the United States. You know, if the like the ones that are me renting are original videos basically. You know, like witnessing anarchist revolution. You know, yeah. I also made a book recommendation, which is the Anarchist FAQ, Rogue State, Killing Hope, stuff like that. You know, I also did a video about reform or abolish the police. And my doesn't agree about the idea, but I hold the position that we should abolish it completely. They also made a video like my top 5 the atheist movies of all time. but most of them are not movies but documentaries. So movies like Theologians Under Hitler, Going Clear, Scientology, Atheism, a rough history of disbelief, Atheist Days, but movies like Planet of the Apes, Life of Brian, Lucky, which is about a 92-year-old atheist who is facing his mortality, you know. uh, my favorite leftist anarchist movie, which I put Captain America: The Civil War, which actually surprisingly is very pro-anarchist in many cases, like that Captain America movie, surprisingly. And also the video, does the internet lead to global anarchist economy, which I argue yes, because of the transition from the current currency to digital currency, and because the internet itself functions under anarchist communist principles, yes. And we have corporations like Mondragon, Val, and the decentralized organization, associations, and the secret mass community use anarchism as their basis for business. You know, also made a third 40-part video about confections about my views on religion and politics, which I haven't read still like the script, so I can possibly publish a book in the future. But for now, I don't feel like it, or I feel comfortable. You know, and I try my best to preserve, but like I fail it because there has so many videos that are so old, and because I use at the time, especially my old account, I use Windows Movie Maker, so they're forever lost. But like I said, like I made like 60 lore videos about multiversal universe and multi-galactic civilizations. So if you go to wiki about science fiction, you can find all of them anyway. But and I use Windows Movie Maker, and most of the times my dog barking. Also made a video about like a guide to become a billionaire slash corporation, which is a 60-step guide to become one of the 2,095 people to become billionaires. Which, by the way, half of them is based on luck. You know. I also made a cover video by the Death Grin band called Brujeria, called División del Norte or Division of the North, which is based on the Zapatistas. I did a guitar cover. I also did a Godzilla marathon in this not this October, the 2020 October, about every Godzilla movie from 1954 Gojira to Godzilla Final Wars, and even like the Shin Godzilla, where I explained the evolution from single cell organisms and stuff like that, like a frog, stuff like that is kind of cool. Also made a video my final thoughts on Unis Honest after binge watching. To be honest, they're like Unis. I love the premise what they did, but their videos, out of the 360 plus videos, only 5 to 10 of them I actually like, and 15 if I found it entertaining I left. The rest I did not care. I gotta be honest. Also the video about anarchist transhumanism, what is the only way to achieve anarchism, and but it's mostly me based on my writings of William Gillis, Murai Bookchin, and stuff like that. And so made a video about support the India Revolution, which is the longest protest in human history, with 250 million to 300 million Indians protesting, led by communist trade unions to stop corporations to take control on the agricultural center. You know, also made a gameplay about Eden Plus. And like I said about Brujon versus Marx, like Marx later work Capital, Critique of the Program, and Civil War in France, which was based on ideas of Brujon, especially what is property and systems of economic contradictions. Also made a gameplay about another visual novel about natural beyond nature. Este, what else? I also made a video based off a book about the cry of Lares, Puerto Rico's revolt independence, which is a 3-part video explaining the events of the cry of Lares. Este, and I also made a video what's the difference between Puerto Rican and New York, which is stateside Puerto Rican leftists, while the Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico are more anarchists or Marxist Leninist Maoists, while in the New Eureka, they're more traditional Marxists or Marxist-Leninists who are heavily anti-revisionists or basically Stalinist for that matter. There's a rich literature about their side of the history on Marxism.org, which I highly recommend. There's treasure trove of documents and stuff like that, and also made a video about Murray Bookchin and William Gillis debunk nihilism. Although I am a nihilist when it comes to like, do we have an essence? Does life have meaning? I agree with the nihilist, which is no, but when we come to like the metaphysical, the ontological, the epistemological, the ethical slash moral side of nihilism, yeah, that's just false. It all stops. If some people think Max Stirner is a nihilist, to some extent, yes, but he was basically a proto anarcho communist, especially learn his ideas of the union of the egoists. Yeah, but his ideas of Philip Mandler and Otto Schutzberg that laid the foundation of nihilism by pushing pessimism to its logical extreme, especially postmodernist egoist nihilism like Jean Baudrillard. Yeah, they're wrong. Full stop. Just me reading Bookchin and Gillis rightly to show you in a more professional sense why they're wrong. It's like I mean mostly uploading like documentary footage about Puerto Rican history and stuff like that to have a better understanding about the U.S. colonialism and imperialism on the island of Borinquen. So I also uploaded Filiberto Heras Rio, the leader of the Boricua Taino separatist group, the Macheteros, his last audio recording minutes before he got massacred by the FBI. You know, or the USA used terrorism on Puerto Rico, which is based off an academic scholarly paper about the subject state sponsors terrorism in Puerto Rico by the United States to oppress the independence movement from the 1960s to the 1990s, which you can read as like an academic paper. You know, and what else? I also did a video about why science and religion are incompatible. A video called "Science versus Religion," which is again based off a academic philosophy article about the same subject. How the supernatural is not explanation, only physicalism. And I highly recommend like the blogs of Richard Carrier, although he is heavily on not just his writing. I don't agree many of his political views, but like his parts about physicalism or scientific realism, yeah, I highly recommend it. And the book How Science Tracks the Truth, Scientific Realism by Steres Pilos, highly recommend. Also the video about Maori anarchism, which is the indigenous people of New Zealand, written by an article by Metiria Turei of the same name, Maori anarchism. I highly recommend it. You know, like I said, I made a very long critique about Marxism. It's like a 2 hour video. How Marx and Engels distort the ideas of Brujon and how later became counter-revolutionary. You know, and also, what are the Hispanic or Latin American elite in the United States or in Latin America, which is trying to explain white people, like white Latinos slash Hispanic, had the same privileges and protection as non white Latinos who are not Hispanic or white. Is like because they have a very colorized view of Latino slash Hispanic, which is black, indigenous, mixed race, and basically, if you don't look white, if you don't look white, you're Latino. I also made a video about Freemasons and the independence movement in Puerto Rico and how they contribute to the cause. Which I made a video about recently about the 1822 revolution, which is like the pinnacle example. Also made a video why libertarian slash anarcho-capitalism leads to feudalism, and examples of the medieval Iceland, which became feudal aristocracy controlled by families, the U.S. Golden Age, 19th century Britain, Guatemala and Honduras by the United Fruit Company, India for the East India Company, and the Congo Free State, which is one of the deadliest, most violent events in human history. He also made a documentary about the Kinley Post Coast, a documentary about the Congo Free State. And I also did I upload a documentary, like free documentary, point the one about Sri Lanka, about the final years of the civil war in the Tamil Lema, and how the Sri Lanka, UK, US, Indian, Australia, and China helped the Sri Lanka government to combat the largest genocide in recent history against the Tamil people, who are the 10th largest racial group in the world who doesn't have their own nation. And due to trying to delete my channel, which turned out they actually did, este, I thought if I forced to change my content, if I remove the video, take out strikes and stuff like that, they would leave me alone. But no, they took it down anyway. Fuck you then. And also the future is anarchist and transhumanist, when you like it or not, which is written by an article at the same name. I read the article because I like the article. Don't judge me. But yeah, that's basically every video I ever made. There's been forever lost, and the few that survive, I will upload it on every Saturday. To try my best. Not all of them, because everything before 2019 or 2020, that's forever lost. So yeah, sadly, and I was heavily depressed because in my the channel that I started popularity, 10 years of content forever lost. Like 11 years of content, my mistake, forever lost. Uh, I was in a depression, like, for real. Yes, thankfully, most of my videos are not personal videos, so, but still, like, I became lost media. They're lost unless somehow YouTube in their extensive archive give me back my old videos. You know, I don't know. It's like it. Thankfully, I had this new channel. I can upload the videos that did survive, and the most important was personal ones still survive. Like I said, I'm kind of sad. So much work for. I know I barely made views. I only have like 300 subscribers in my previous account, but like I was proud. I was happy. I thought I was educating people about you know U.S. colonialism, imperialism, YouTube promote right wing, pro monarchist, pro fascist ideas all the time. So yeah, I think that's about it. I'm not gonna talk anymore. But yeah, thank everybody who watched this video. Like, subscribe, share. I hope to see you guys next time.